Let's imagine we're business partners and we own a fast food restaurant called Burger Queen. We're currently hiring and there's a few applicants with a similar work history. They've all worked for the Internal Revenue System. Now, the government has recently changed their tax system where the IRS no longer exists. George Santana, in the Gentile tradition in American philosophy and character and opinion in the United States, 2009, stated that those who do not remember their past are condemned to repeat it. Therefore, we need to learn from our past and implement the fair tax system. Now, we're all college students and most of us have to work. We all have bills to pay and we all have taxes taken out of our paycheck. So, have you ever looked at your pay stub to see how many taxes you actually pay? I have, and I think to myself, what could I do with that money? After reading the Fair Tax book and having watched several speeches online and following the 2008 presidential candidate Mike Huckabee, I have learned a lot and have enough knowledge to inform you about the subject today. So first I'll discuss the history of our tax system, then I'll go into the current system and how it affects businesses and how to change it. So in order to find the problems that lie within our tax system, we must look to the past. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 4 in the U.S. Constitution states that there should be no direct taxes on Americans. On the U.S. Department of the Treasury website, they quote Supreme Court Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes as he defines taxes as what we pay for a civilized society. Now, for the longest time in history, our government was funded by a tax on imports called tariffs. Then came good old Abe Lincoln's idea of an income tax in the 16th Amendment to our Constitution. Now, the first actual attempt to do an income tax was to fund the Civil War, and if you made $600 to $10,000, you were taxed 3%. If you made over $10,000, you were taxed 5%, plus an inheritance tax was added on. But keep in mind that $600 then equals about $10,000 today. All of these facts came from the Neil Board's books, the Fair Tax book, written in 2005. So did you know that over the next 20 years, there were 68 bills passed to permanently put taxes on Americans? And with a vote of 77-0 in the Senate and 318-14 in the House of Representatives, February 12, 1913 marked its day in history. This day adds those like December 7, 1941 or September 11, 2001. Now let's take a look at our current tax system and how it runs today. Huckabee stated on his You Choose video clip that current tax system is so complicated that you have to hire an attorney and an accountant just to figure it out, unless you just want to be ripped off. So let's say today is April 1st and you know your taxes are due on April 15th. Think of all the troubles that you go through. In fact, in 2005, on average, individuals spent 27 hours preparing their tax return. Or maybe you're one of those who go to somebody else. But you have to ask yourself, don't you love paying someone to help you pay someone else? Remember, we work for fast food, so we don't have that kind of money. According to boards, 25% of your paycheck is withheld. So how does this affect businesses? Let's start with the basics. They can't afford to be here. They have to pay taxes on us too, 8 additional percent. Imagine being in one of our Burger Queen meetings, but we're not talking about the way to make our food better or customer service. We're talking about how to cheat the system and money. So let's change this. So many businesses have to resort to offshoring or moving to another country. I hope you have no big plans of becoming a big dog unless you're willing to relocate for Burger Queen, because Burger Queen might have to relocate to Europe. So those businesses that have offshore have been called names such as Benedict Arnold's or un-American tax cheats. But you got to keep in mind that they weren't going over to another country in order to engulf themselves in new culture. They were going over there in the best interest of their stockholders, trying to keep their business alive. So how do we change this? The fair tax is the correct answer. So let me begin by saying that the fair tax will not cause inflation. And how would you like to keep 100% of your paycheck? Under the fair tax, all taxes that are placed on goods right now will be removed, according to Huckabee at Commonwealth Club of California interview in 2008. Then a 22 to 23% income tax, consumption tax, will be added onto the goods, meaning that prices will raise about 1 to 2 cents per every dollar. It's just a consumption tax. So when we impose this fair tax, businesses will be rushing home. And also, if we impose this, we would be the only country to to sell into an economy with no tax in the system. Right now, our businesses, Burger Queen and others, are being punished for expanding or offshoring, and so are we. We have to pay on average an extra $2,000 for every business that offshores. So are you cooking on why our products are not so competitive? Fair tax brings businesses home, meaning more jobs and more buying power. And we also would eliminate the underground market. Illegal immigrants don't pay taxes right now, but with the fair tax, everyone who is a consumer in the country will pay their taxes. Even drug dealers will have to pay their taxes. So there's no way to escape and no warehouses to keep our taxes either. So with the fair tax, America finally gains advantage. There's no more reason to go to other countries because businesses will come home, meaning there's more jobs, higher wages, more spending, and in turn, more profit for the government. So does anyone lose? Well, maybe the third world countries that don't have a minimum wage law in place, but let's put that in the "that's not our problem" folder in the warehouse. So let's recap. Under the fair tax, you'll keep 100% of your paycheck. Prices will remain essentially the same. American businesses will return home to eat our Burger Queen, and the richest businesses will fuel the economy through spending. So do we hire the IRS? Well, how would the taxpayers who come into Burger Queen like to see the auditors who audited them last year asking them, would you like french fries or onion rings? The fair tax, what's not to love? That was 6:39:62.